7 minutes by.
Oh, that was fun. We suck in Denver. That was a lot of fun. But in reality, we don't. And the reality is that you and I sit and stand in, really today, one of the most economically vibrant cities, leading in so many metrics that should make us proud, because when we came in 2011, we were leading a city that was challenged by the recession. Almost double-digit unemployment. We hadn't hired a police officer in 5 years. This city was hurt. Our parks were dying. We weren't able to water the grasses in the park. The reality is, the people of Denver and my administration together worked hard together, made tough decisions together at the ballot box and administratively to pull this city out of the recession. The result, in fact, has been, yes, we have created 100,000 plus jobs. Yes, 8,100 companies have come to Denver, Colorado. We also saw this city go through the largest growth in population in its history at one time. 100,000 plus people have moved to Denver in the last 10 years. This city was brimming with possibilities and opportunities. And it's been an amazing ride. There are also challenges that come with that kind of growth, because no other city has grown like Denver in that era. Yes, we are congested on the roads. You've got to expect congestion to occur when you have that kind of growth. That's why we have the Mobility Action Plan to create a more multimodal strategy in the city of Denver. Bike lanes, widening sidewalks, completing sidewalk networks. That's why we are expanding our transit. And we have completed a bond that just recently in November, the people of Denver again, saying yes, let's invest in our infrastructure. $937 million, half of it going to mobility. Because we believe we have to fix our streets. That's why the city stepped up in affordable housing. Affordable housing is not a municipal function tradition. It's a federal state function. But as mayor, starting in 2012, I started making allocations from the general fund for affordable housing. The first mayor in our history. And we made the first commitment of $150 million, and we knew it wasn't going to be enough, and so we stayed in the laboratory. Yeah, we do have a $300 million commitment to affordable housing. It's not just about the money. It's also about the fact that we have got to get moving to make sure people who come here, want to stay here, can stay here. And then finally, I do believe in the fact that we have to continue to diversify and create a more inclusive economy. These are not concepts that we just started because these things happen. Raising the minimum wage. I fought for them every time they come up at the state. Been at the state testifying. Yes, we're going to raise minimum wage to $15 an hour in our city-owned buildings, but we're also at the state fighting to make sure that we continue to push for cities having the ability to create their own minimum wage. Because it has changed. This economy has changed. Yes, workforce development is extremely important. You won't find a candidate that's trained more people to compete in the economy today and in the past than I have, from my days at the Urban League and now as mayor. And yes, we do have to complete that. You have to end that pipeline to jail and make it a pipeline to a college or career. This administration not only reauthorized the DPP, but we finally closed the circle when we went to the ballot last November and passed Prosperity Denver, giving kids scholarships, every kid in Denver, an opportunity to go to college 2 years, 4 years, or vocational training. That's how you begin the process. That's the foundation of ending the pipeline. And it's not just removing officers out of the building. Because in today's world, our police officers need to be there, but they need to be trained to be partners with the students and the schools, and lessen reliance on citations and taking kids to jail. For the things we used to get suspended for or sent to the principal's office, kids were being arrested. We ended that under my administration. And now we also partner with Denver Human Services and doubled the number of social workers through the city of Denver now partnering in our schools. So it's been a tremendous opportunity to serve the people of Denver, but we're not done. We need a more inclusive, equitable economy. We need to continue to be that welcoming city. I was proud to be called to the Capitol yesterday, or Thursday, by Speaker Pelosi, as one of only 6 mayors in this country, to demand that we end this shutdown and demand we start talking about immigration in more realistic, practical terms. We've been leading on those things, not following. We, Denver, has been one of the leading cities on that issue, and we'll continue to do so. So I'm proud to stand here and talk about and answer your questions. We'll spend more time there. But we also got to get ready to be more of a modern city. And that means deploying the technology that people said I will work to create. We've already created in the laboratory of Denver Public Works. And you're going to see this year the city of Denver deploying transportation technology that's going to move us to the front of the line in terms of cities that are already investing and already moving forward. And our city employees did that. No highly paid consultants. They went in the laboratory and created this technology. And it's going to lead the nation on how you're able to communicate and know what traffic conditions are and how to get from point A to B in the most efficient manner. We're there. This city is moving forward. Do not be hoodwinked into believing that we are falling behind in the city. This is a great, globally leading city. Do we have issues, challenges? Yes. What city doesn't? Name one. You can't because we do. I just let 350 mayors talk about these very same issues. We're sharing ideas. We're learning from each other. And you'll find that they are looking to Denver, more so than any other city, to address the challenges that are plaguing each and every one of us across this country. So I'll stop there. Okay. We'll go Q&A. Yes, sir.
So Detective Branch Wise says that the text messages that you admitted sending her constituted sexual harassment. Is she wrong? Was that sexual harassment or not?
I don't believe it was sexual harassment. I said that, and that's why I admitted it right away. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty, but you know, the reality is when it happened, I regretted it happened. Detective Branch Wise shared that she didn't believe it was sexual harassment when it happened. Her lawyer said the same thing. That was 6 years ago. And then for it to come out again, it's regrettable. And that's why I apologized. I stepped up to it, owned it, and I learned from it. Yes, sir.
When I first moved to Denver in 2006, I was paying $900 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment. Now I'm paying $1,400 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment. So without getting into what you've done so far in your administration, what are you going to do going forward to make sure that people in my generation can afford to live in this city?
I appreciate that. I had a conversation with one of my staff members the other day who just moved to Denver, and he lives with his 2 brothers. And I said, what do you pay for your rent? He says, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath for $3,200. And man, this is wow. That's more than my mortgage. And so to see the rental market move, we have watched it move. And that's why we have done a couple of things. One is we recognize the missing middle. That's our most critical, basically workforce housing. The housing you're looking for is our biggest need. It is not just the lower end. We are spending a lot on the lower end in terms of the 30, 60% AMI, but we recognize the 80 to 120 is going to be our biggest challenge going forward, and that's where we're focused on. I was in a meeting in the East Coast just yesterday where we met with developers going to build 350 units in Denver, and we're going to help remove the city bureaucratic hurdles so we can expedite that kind of development. But you're going to see us focus on that more. I can tell you our Live Denver program is meant for workforce housing, where we're going into these market rate units. We're working with managers to bring down the prices, and employers are partnering with the city to help get their employees in those buildings because there's some vacancies, and we're starting to fill them with our workforce folks. So we're trying unique, innovative things to create those opportunities in these facilities, our buildings that are already built, as well as for sale units. Yes, ma'am. I'll get some water. Yes, ma'am.
You've taken some money from oil and gas for your campaign, and I'm just wondering, we have 10 years to get off fossil fuels. What's your commitment?
I'm staying committed to my focus on 100% renewable energy, continue to implement our Energize Denver program, which we are seeing 96% voluntary compliance with it, continue to partner with Xcel Energy to diversify our renewable energy inventory in the city of Denver. They're trying to move 100% as well. And we're going to continue to maximize on that. But here's what I've done with the oil and gas industry. And I said really, and I didn't mean that facetiously, I don't really sit there and study who contributes to my contribution. I really don't. You know, I got thousands of contributors, and so I don't pay attention, but I go to these events. People are generous to put on events, and I go to them. But here's the reality. I have never been lobbied by the fossil fuel or natural energy industry. Renewable energy has been our commitment. They know that. My ability to sit and have a conversation with them has made a difference with regards to our fracking in and around Denver and letting people understand that here's what we expect if you're coming into Denver. We don't have fracking in our city except for Denver International Airport, where that possibility will exist, and we're not doing it out there today. And so we've been able to keep them at the table and have conversations. And I'll tell you why this is important. Because, thank you very much, Representative. They represent, in terms of workforce in the city of Denver, they represent well over 40% of the people who work in downtown Denver. And so our ability to have a conversation with them, keep them at the table, and to draw on their expertise in times when our cost per barrel is dropping, we're worried about employees and vacancies in downtown. They've been able to come and help us to help get through the whole situation, because if that economy falls out of the bottom of Denver, we will feel it disproportionately. So I'm committed to making sure we remain renewable, focused on renewability, our renewable energy sources, as well as reducing our risk around fossil energy.
One more.
Yes.
Yes,
sir.
Yeah, so Senator Julie Gonzalez in Senate District 34 is working on legislation to get rid of the state ban on rent control. God willing that passes, how quickly will the city implement rent control in Denver, which is the real solution to the affordability crisis in this city?
I don't agree with you. Let me tell you that we're going to take a look at it. We are studying, even as she's looking at it, we looked at it previously. Rent controls, where they have been implemented, have not been the panacea that people expect them to. And I was just, like I said, in conversations with people in New York where you know about rent controls there, and we understand the challenges there. They're looking at it in San Francisco. It has not been necessary panacea. So we are going to have a conversation with Representative, our Senator Gonzalez, and she's someone that we supported during the campaign. So we knew she was going to come with this initiative. So we immediately started looking at it and what it would mean if it was implemented in the state of Colorado. So we're not done in terms of the answer, but I'm telling you that there's contrary information in terms of the results for cities and states that have rent control to say that it's the panacea that we've been looking for.
That's
it? That's all we have time for?
Yes, sorry.
All right, thank you all.